We are the table we grew up at. We're siblings, and we're here meeting around our virtual table to tell stories and talk about what it was like being raised in an Anabaptist home and community. So welcome, pull up a chair, and join us around the table. Right. Hey guys, do you know what I thought of this week? You're never going to believe it. I, I thought of
I
our
probably will, but
crazy car games that we used to play.
yeah, I don't even start with this.
Oh,
Yeah. So car ahead. I
Physical violence. Oh, you said car games, not card games.
Yeah, car
car.
games. Yes.
The
So I
card
thought of
games
the
were a thing
car
of violence
game,
as
the
well.
automobile game
Yes, yes.
that Brandon made up called Car Ahead.
Car head.
Yeah.
And basically it was Brandon being in control because he wanted to read, I think. And we were bugging him.
Yeah.
And so he would say, whenever there's a car coming towards us, he would yell, "Car ahead," and we would all duck down. And then
It
we would
basically
wait
got
until he
them to
say
shut
pass,
up.
and then we would pop up again.
I
We
know.
Yeah.
thought it was fun. We played it for hours sometimes, I think, on
Yeah.
our
We did.
long road trips.
And now I teach it to my kids.
No,
No, no
do they
joke.
love it?
No. I think it's dumb.
I can't imagine Ari liking it. For
No.
some reason, she just seems like the one that would hate it the most, but maybe not. I don't know.
Oh yeah, for sure. If she's the one that can say car ahead, then she's fine.
Yeah.
But if
Oh,
she's
okay.
the one that has to duck her head, absolutely not.
No, we don't be doing that. That's funny.
What brought this to my mind was I was driving down the road the other day and I saw a pasture full of cows on my left. We also played this game
Ooh,
called Cows
yes.
on Your Left,
That
and you
was
just
me.
hollered out "Cows on your left" when you got to a field full of
I do
cows.
not remember cows on your left.
Well,
That was when we were a little older.
okay, Courtney
Yep.
made it up, I think. Not
Yep.
that fun of a game, but I
Uh,
thought about it
okay.
because I saw the
I
cows on my left.
also taught my girls that one, and we played that one for hours. We played that one all the way to Grammys, and that is a big hit.
And there ain't a lot of cows on that road.
No, we don't. But we add in cows, basically any animal, and then sometimes we add in water too, body of
Gotcha.
water. Yeah,
Mhm.
you got to
You have
keep
to use all the
entertained.
elements of
We have to use
freeway.
Keeping entertained.
But we
yes,
really did take these really
Mhm.
long family trips when we were
Mhm.
growing up. Like it was,
twice a year out
We,
yeah,
17 hours,
yep.
Oklahoma.
Drive to
Mhm.
yeah.
Oklahoma and back.
We had to
Man.
keep
Good
ourselves
times.
entertained because we are 90s kids. We did not have movies and TV
Yeah,
in our
no,
car. It was not a
absolutely
thing.
not. Couldn't listen
Yes.
to the radio because that was bad.
Yeah.
Mhm. You
That
Yeah.
couldn't
was
do that.
nothing.
No. We did listen to a lot of tapes.
We did have a lot of
We
story
had
cassettes.
story tapes. Yeah.
Also, 90s
Ranger
kid, we had
Ranger
cassettes.
Rex. We had cassettes. Yes, we did.
Yep.
Ranger Rex and
And
um
your
Christmas
store hour
stories.
with Uncle Dan and Aunt Sue.
Yes. Yes.
And Odyssey, The Adventures of
Yes.
Yeah.
Adventures in Odyssey.
hmm
Hmm.
hmm
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think there was another tape that we used to listen to a lot. I don't remember
Well, it
what.
was the weird one with the looking at the wall. And I
Yes.
don't have a clue
The different
what.
stories in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dude painted
Yeah.
paper on his cheeks to make his cheeks
Orange
orange.
cheeks. Orange paper cheeks. Yep.
Stupid story.
Yes. Somehow I made a hole in the wall.
Yeah. That's a very stupid story. I couldn't tell you what that thing was called, but
Oh my goodness.
I don't know
No,
either.
no idea.
it was
I just remember that
ridiculous.
story on it too. I don't remember any other stories
Yeah.
from that thing.
That was a good time.
Good.
Learned a lot of stuff,
Hey,
man.
Yeah.
anyway,
Wow.
let's jump into our topic tonight. We are going to talk about the practice of the head covering in the
Hmm.
Anabaptist world.
Yeah.
Now, this topic has been exhausted, and it is
Hmm.
one of the most defining, um, what,
Characteristics.
yeah, one of the most defining characteristics of the Anabaptist people.
hmm
Mhm.
It is worn by women, and it is a variety of sizes, colors, shapes, and
Styles,
styles.
stringed and unstringed.
Yep.
Yes. So we would have grown up, or in the church we grew up in, we would have worn like the bucket style for a while and then changed to the
With
veil.
Sorry, did you say
I don't
bucket
know how else to
style?
describe it.
She said, "How about bonnet style?"
Oh,
Yes,
bonnet. Okay.
there we go.
I
There
know.
we
I
go.
heard bucket.
I
I
just
think people
imagine you
understand.
got a bucket of popcorn at the movie theater. Like,
It's similar.
This like giant blue pail just like
yeah,
plopped over your head is what came to my
With the
head.
thing underneath like a army helmet.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
chin strap. Yeah, I would go
Okay.
with bonnet, but
Bonnet.
Yeah.
Sorry, bonnet style.
Yeah.
that's
But
good.
we did switch it up then. I think I was like
Hmm.
12-ish
Yeah.
when we were allowed to wear like the veil,
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
which
Something,
kind of,
did we have like length restrictions and stuff on your veil? I
oh
forget.
yeah, it had like all of its
Yeah.
Had
restrictions
length
on it.
restrictions. It had lace, like the width of the lace. I remember that being a
Mhm.
hot topic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh
3/8
yeah.
inch. That was the
Yep.
3/8 of an
widest we
inch.
were allowed to go.
Yep.
Interesting.
And it
Hmm.
could be floral, but it had to be solid. It couldn't be straight lace.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Hmm.
interesting.
all that to say, I feel like I skipped over where and why.
Hmm.
So
Okay.
1 Corinthians 11 is the chapter that
Yep.
this head covering is taken from.
Hmm.
Hmm.
I have read that chapter many times
Hmm.
and would have at one point said I did have a conviction for the covering.
Hmm.
It was very cultural and I believed it and I felt it at the
Hmm.
time. And I believe it was just respectful too with where I was at.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So we take it from 1 Corinthians 11,
Hmm.
and in there it talks about, needing to have your head covered. A woman's hair is for her glory. When you wear something on your head, it is seen by the angels. Um, what else, guys? Help me out with what else the chapter says
Um,
about it that we would have taken.
Pretty much all.
yeah. Talks about if her head's not covered, then she might as well shave her head.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that's where it would have come from.
Yeah.
That's where they use.
Yes. So that is the scriptural backing of the head covering in the Anabaptist world.
Hmm.
Now, like I said, there are many shapes and sizes,
Hmm.
colors, and styles,
Hmm.
but that is like the basis
Hmm.
for it.
Yeah.
So I don't wear the covering today. I, when I was younger, would have said that I was going to wear it for the rest of my life. I think I mentioned it earlier a few episodes ago that it was a decision that I struggled through. It was a decision that you had to work through, which is normal because it's so ingrained in your head.
Hmm.
Like it's normal to
Yeah.
feel like you should wear it.
Hmm.
Right. It also
Um,
like
sorry, go ahead.
the thoughts of not wearing it is also a line in the sand you're kind of
Hmm.
drawing.
Hmm.
And so it's really hard
Yeah.
to like come to that place.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, you did your wrestling with it.
Hmm.
And yeah,
Mm.
the
Yeah,
same.
you don't just take it off without
Right.
like willy-nilly without thinking through it and praying through it. And
There would be a lot of questions about your salvation at that moment.
yes.
Like I'm
Hmm.
Right.
not stretching that. Like
No.
in that moment of removing your covering, a lot of people in that church would have, or in that culture would have questions
Mm.
about your salvation.
Right.
Yes. And
Yep.
and still do,
Oh,
to be honest.
100%.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
So I just want to reassure you, I have a relationship with Jesus that I absolutely love and is stronger today than it's ever been. So I don't think it's based on the head covering. But one of the things I think that got me thinking the most and got me like so kind of forced me to come up to like form an opinion was when I was working in Greece. I remember we were working with Muslim background believers, and they were coming to know Jesus, and the first thing they did was take off their hijab.
Hmm.
And I remember being like, oh yeah, because it's cultural, it's of course they don't want to wear that anymore. And all of a sudden it like hit me. Oh,
Hmm.
what if someone, decided to join the Mennonite world and then they were asked to put something else on?
Hmm.
And to me, I
Mhm.
was like, that's not okay. You can't ask them
Mhm.
after coming through all of that and like stepping out and risking their lives to like
Hmm.
change religions, really, in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
Mhm.
to like take that off and then ask them to put something else on. And I was like, it can't be done. Like it can't be
Hmm.
done. And so in my head, it right away started kind of showing me how cultural our covering actually is, and like
Right.
how if I couldn't ask that of them, but believe that they've been saved and believe that they're in good standing with the church, why is it different for me?
Hmm.
And a lot of times, and I heard this straight from the mouths of people like the adults I would have grown up with, we, like people outside are not required, outside of our faith, are not required to wear it and they're fine. But we, because we know better, because the Bible says, to him that knoweth to do good and does it to him. How is it? To
Not do
him
it
that
and
knows
Doesn't
to do
put to
good.
him in sin.
Yeah. So that was like the verse quoted at me when
Hmm.
Mhm.
talking about taking off
Hmm.
the head covering or not wearing it anymore.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
it was like this thing where it was like this, you were almost trapped in this bubble of like
Hmm.
everyone outside is fine if they don't wear it. But as soon as you take it off, you're going to hell. You're
Hmm.
sinning.
You're sinning. Yep.
And
Mhm.
so that was often confusing to me. How God, I mean, it just showed an
Hmm.
inconsistency of God
Yeah.
and his character to me.
Well,
Mhm.
that's one of the things I have written down is like this issue brings so much confusion.
Hmm.
And the Bible also says that God is not the author of confusion. He's not a God of confusion.
Right.
Right.
And so whenever things come up that are confusing, like it makes me stop and look and think and try to figure out, okay, what is this? What is going on here? And so that's one of the things that raises a red flag in my mind all the time
Hmm.
Mhm.
is how confusing people want to make this issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And sometimes it almost feels like a distraction to keep us from what really matters.
Hmm.
Like that's what it feels like to me.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah. But that is really what spurred the question for me and starting to process through this. But the biggest wrestling for me was not, do I believe that I am saved when I take it off? It's where will I belong?
Yeah.
Will I
Yeah.
belong to the like, will I fit in? Will I
Hmm.
not? Do I know how to not be a Mennonite? Like letting that all of my clothes and veil speak for my identity as a Mennonite person.
Oh,
Yep.
How do I go away from that? I don't know how to be anything but that.
Hmm.
right.
And what if I am not good at being anything but that?
Hmm.
And it's just this belonging piece that I think it lies at the bottom of when you're wrestling through that question, whether
Yeah.
you keep it or take it off.
Hmm.
Now, my mother still wears a veil. I absolutely respect her decision to do that
Hmm.
because I believe that she is one of the strongest Christians I know. I don't believe that because she's chosen to stay and when wear the veil that somehow she's missing out or anything. That's not what
Yeah.
I'm trying to say.
Yep.
Right.
I'm saying it's for me it was a choice that I made and I am
Hmm.
okay that I made it
Hmm.
today.
Yeah.
Because of that confusion, because of working through it
Hmm.
and God speaking some truth to me through that process.
Hmm.
Um,
Mhm.
because one of the things that I do remember, probably the thing that like made it like this, okay, this isn't the choice I'm going to make, was I was praying and I was just like kind of distraught with the whole thing. And I remember it was like a clear voice. I mean, it wasn't really, but it felt like that. And it was like God just whispered, why are you trying so hard to belong when you already belong to me?
Hmm.
And that's why I was able to step out and be like, okay, I'm like I'm making a choice that I feel is right for me at this time. Um, and I
Yeah.
felt like now, um, I know that this is what I want to create as a space to belong.
Hmm.
And so that's going to unfold in some way. God has some things up his sleeve, but we'll get there eventually.
Hmm.
But yeah, I'd love to hear, Brandon, what your thoughts are on
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not female and never was required to wear a head covering.
Lucky.
So I grew up like honestly not thinking about it a whole bunch. Um, when I got married, my wife wore a head covering, and she's just stopped in the last year. So I've kind of came to the point a long time before that where I didn't feel like it was something that God is asking. Like I don't feel like it's the salvation issue that a lot of us people want to make it out to be.
Hmm.
I don't feel like you would gain or lose salvation based on your physical covering that you're wearing on your head. Um, Paul talks a lot about how like some things are right for some people and they're also like not right for other people. Like if it's something that you choose to wear, like please do. If that's something that you feel convicted to do, please
Hmm.
do.
Yeah.
But also like don't cast judgment on the person that doesn't feel like that's necessary.
Hmm.
Yeah.
In my reading, well, I guess some of the things that make me think about it are like so there's a lot of confusion around the issue. God is not a God of confusion.
Hmm.
Um, it's one passage in the Bible.
Hmm.
Yep.
There's like times for that we follow a single verse, but often the things that God views as like as important. This is me speaking. I am a human. I can be wrong, but often are repeated in Scripture. You know, from Old Testament to New
Hmm.
Testament. Uh,
Yeah.
they are there's multiple sections of Scripture, multiple authors that talk about this thing.
Hmm.
I think of sexual sin. I think of um, like non-resistance. I think of some things like that that I would think are really important. And this is me. But what and like this is talked about one time. Um and um
In a
something that
very specific, like it's talked about
yes,
one time in a very specific letter to a church.
correct. That's what I was
Hmm.
where I was going. Yeah, Matt Chandler talks about this idea that, and it's multiple, it's not just him, but I heard it from him first, is like the Bible is written to them for us.
Hmm.
So there is context to
Yeah.
the Bible.
Hmm.
You have to understand who it was written to, what was going on in the time,
Hmm.
and all that stuff.
Hmm.
And so this letter is written to the Corinthians. There's things in it for us and we can take from it, but that doesn't mean you take everything.
Right.
It means that you put it into context and say, hey,
Hmm.
what's going on here?
Hmm.
Um, the whole like overarching principle in I feel like in the beginning of Corinthians, First Corinthians 11 is headship. And so
Hmm.
how each there's like God has created order. And so I am in submission to, I should be in submission to God as my covering, as my head.
Yes.
Um, Controversial or not, my wife should be in submission to me. And and I am her cover, I am her head.
Yes.
And if I'm doing a good job at it, it's not a burden.
Hmm.
And then our kids are in submission to her and to us, like together. And so like I tend to view that covering as more of a structure of headship that God has created. And there's also there's a verse in if
There.
you like the hair is given as a covering. It says that like that's what
Yeah.
it says. The hair is given as a covering. And so like I'm trying to figure out where do we then get the like the idea that we need a physical covering, like a separate thing.
Mhm.
I don't really find it a lot. So that's kind of where we're at. Um, yeah, I'm trying to like, and then just while I was working in Asia, like I saw so many women not wearing a head covering, doing amazing things for God. And God is obviously in their life. God is obviously working through them.
Mhm.
And so if it's such a big issue, then they shouldn't they shouldn't be effective. They shouldn't be hearing from God. They
Hmm.
shouldn't be doing God's work.
Yeah.
And yet they are. And
Mhm.
it's and like powerfully. And so like that's some of the things that kind of started my journey and my questions. And I would say I would speak to you husbands and fathers and whatever out there, like know what's going on, like know some of the
Hmm.
scripture, do a little research, but also like support the women in your lives. For me, like I was at the point where for a long time where I didn't think it was necessary, and yet my wife wasn't there. And
Mhm.
so to me it's a non-issue. So I will support you, and when it's time to take it off and when it's time to move on from that, then I will support you in that. Like I am behind you. I am for you. And these are the conversations that I had with my wife. Here's my opinion, but you have to also make your own decisions. And
Yeah.
so for each of you guys out there, that if you have somebody in your life, like ultimately they have to make their own decision.
Hmm.
This is the Bible also talks about working out your own salvation in fear and trembling. Like this is something that you have to decide to do, but I'm with you. I'm for you.
Yeah.
Does that make any sense, guys?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it does.
That too. I would
Absolutely.
feel that too. The whole like um supportive husband role,
Mm-hmm.
because that's where Justin and I were as well. Um, he didn't grow up with it really, and he was just like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't see any point in it. Um, but it was hard for me to let it go right away,
Mm-hmm.
just because of all the attachments that I was still facing. And a lot of it was, quite truthfully, was peer pressure,
Mm-hmm.
um, to keep it on just because of what are people going to say? What are people going to think? How am I going to be perceived? Am I okay
Mm-hmm.
suddenly? Um, will I lose my friends?
Mm-hmm.
Will I be able to continue on in my friendships that I have? I thought I had a lot of great friends. Um, then I'll be very truthful. Like I stopped wearing it. We did leave that church that I would have went to, and at that time when I stopped completely wearing it, I was literally just wearing like a headband for my head covering. But I stopped wearing that, and I don't ever really hang out with those people anymore that I would have counted my closest friends at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's just, and I truly believe that God has taken me from one glory to the next. Like, I believe that's how it has been for me. But I do remember, like, going way back to when I was a child, um, at 3 years old. Like, I was very proud to wear my first little head covering to church.
Your
Um,
first little bucket.
that my first little, right, my bucket. Yeah. Yeah. But then I also remember as, getting a little bit older, and I was with the youth group. And by that time, yeah, we were wearing the veil, but still, like, I remember being out with my friends, and especially like if we did like youth group outings or high school outings, stuff like that, like almost immediately you walk into a public place, the men in the group are gone from the girls. And I'm like, why?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times it came down to we got looked at a lot. We got stared at a lot. We got talked to all the time about it and why we wear it and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like I always had like this patent answer that I would just,
Mm-hmm.
here, this is why we are. Now move on, you know. Um, but yeah, I was actually, when I moved down to Tennessee as well, then I was asked to wear a different style of veil just because they were a lot more conservative than I was.
Hmm.
And so they asked me to wear a completely different style, and I did that. And I felt like it was okay. They were so sweet about it too. But just going through my own personal journey with it, I guess you could say.
Hmm.
But yeah, I do remember one of the first times I was in church without one. And that was a big deal for me. I remember I was feeling all the feels that day. And I just remember in worship, I was singing, and I just remember like hearing, kind of like Britt said, like that voice that was like, Courtney, I love you for your heart and
Hmm.
for your worship in this moment, not because you're not wearing something on your head today.
Hmm.
And you are my child, and I love you. And that was such, it was just such a comfort. It was just a warmth in my spirit because I was just like, okay, God, like I have you, if nothing else, and no one else.
Hmm.
And yeah, that was huge for me. And then I actually have done, like Brittany said, I've read the scripture in First Corinthians 11 100 times. And it's only, again, I've recently just gone through it again and just looked at it and been like, oh, but I don't know, I do feel like I have such a different perspective on it now than I did 7 years ago, 8 years ago. Um, so yeah, that's a little bit of my story with it.
Yeah.
I also feel like I didn't lose friends. I would still talk to a lot of people, almost everyone. Um, no one has ever come out and been outrightly disrespectful or anything like that to me. So praise the Lord for that.
Hmm. Yep.
For
I've just been like reading. Sorry, this is really interesting to me. I've just been reading through it. First Corinthians 11. It's like 2 to 16. And I just found verse 16 so interesting. If anyone wants to be contentious about this, we have no other practice, nor do the churches of God. So he's very like he's like there's no need to be like fighting about this, guys. Like,
Yeah,
right.
so
yeah.
I just find
And
it
no,
interesting.
because then
I
it
mean,
made it into the salvation issue. We made
Yeah.
it into
yeah,
like a
Yeah.
right.
It's a pillar of of that
right,
culture's faith belief system.
Yeah.
right.
Mhm.
And
Right.
Courtney, I thought you mentioned earlier that patent answer that we had, and we did. Like, mom
Oh
made sure
yeah.
that us girls knew why we wore it. Like,
Oh
she was
yeah.
not,
Oh
because
yeah.
there's a lot of girls that don't know. They do not know.
That's
You
true.
ask them, they freeze. They're almost
Oh
rude
yeah.
because they don't know how to approach it. They don't know how to answer
Oh
it.
yeah.
Hmm.
So they're
Mhm.
just like, that's what we do.
Uh,
But they have
our church does
no,
it. Our
yeah,
church makes us. Yeah.
yeah. In Greece, I saw it a lot. People ask questions, obviously.
Hmm.
Hmm.
And a lot of girls would either have the patent answer or they would shut down. And then they would almost come across rude. And people would come to me later and be like, because I was apparently the, like, I don't know, they called me the Mennonite dictionary or something. So then they were like, why did she respond like this? And I'm like, she doesn't know. It's just culturally, she doesn't know why she wears it.
Hmm.
But that answer was always because we believe in the headship and it's a symbol of our submission. That was the answer.
Yeah.
It's a symbol of
Yeah.
our submission to God
Hmm.
and our husbands or our fathers,
Hmm.
Hmm.
which was always interesting to me. And this, I believe, we talked about when we were kids. We watched quite a few women in our church be extremely
Oh,
like, okay, I know the word submissive is super triggering to a lot of people, so just don't like hear me when I say this. But they
take
were
a deep
like
breath.
really forward and like not the typical like standard of submission that people like to
Yeah.
throw that word out as.
But it's yeah.
And it
It's
was
just like
always kind of confusing to us because we were
yeah.
like, well, she shouldn't wear it then if
Yeah.
that's how she's going to be,
Like don't dishonor my symbol here.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is a
Yeah.
symbol of submission, and you're not
Yeah.
being submissive at
Yeah.
all.
I
Submission that
know.
people
Hmm.
like to
Yeah.
throw that word out as.
But it's yeah.
And it
It's
was
just like
always kind of confusing to us because we were
yeah.
like, well, she shouldn't wear it then if
Yeah.
that's how she's going to be,
Like don't dishonor my symbol here.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is a
Yeah.
symbol of submission, and you're not
Yeah.
being submissive at
Yeah.
all.
I know.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so
but that's a little
fascinating.
judgy of us. I mean, to say that, but it was
It,
something that we did observe as children, and we were like, but we wear it because of submission. And
yeah.
what I see of this woman who's my elder
Hmm.
is who's not being submissive in the term that or in the way that it was spoken of
Yeah.
and said that this is what submission is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She wasn't following that. It was hard to understand why
Hmm.
that would be a thing, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, those inconsistencies that we had been talking about, it just came
Hmm.
through in this
Hmm.
area as well. Okay.
Hmm.
Well, I was just going to kind of piggyback off of what you had said about the culture that was happening, like with that verse that you read at the end there, verse
Hmm.
16, I believe it was, that when he was speaking of what was going on in Corinth at that time.
Hmm.
And there was, there was if you didn't wear it,
Hmm.
there was a lot of like cultic priestesses
Hmm.
that, were prostituting themselves there in their churches or,
Hmm.
their whatever they were. I don't know that you
Their
call
little
them churches,
temples.
their little temples. There you go. And so like for these women making an issue about this thing, like it was kind of a big deal because, there was so much cultural things that were actually happening
Hmm.
in their city at that time as
Hmm.
well.
And culture, if I understand it right, like those priestesses at these shrines and temples
Hmm.
prostituting themselves would often have a covered their head with
No,
they
they would
would not
not
have.
have
They would not
anything on
have.
their head. No.
Okay.
And they would also oftentimes have shaved their heads or have
Hmm.
really short hair.
Hmm.
And yeah, the women that were coming into the faith, they were the ones that were like, some of them, because some of them were not Jewish women. So
Hmm.
they were coming in and saying, hey, why are you guys wearing these things to the Jewish women that had come into the faith,
Hmm.
And so it was causing some discrepancies there
Hmm.
because of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again, written to the Corinthians in a very like pagan city.
Yeah.
This is not a
Yeah.
godly city. This is not a yeah, this is a very pagan city.
Yeah.
Right.
Hmm. Also, the one word that I have, it's another word for it, I believe it was in the Aramaic, was disheveled hair rather
Mm.
than like uncovered hair. So like comb your hair, look nice, be
Hmm.
presentable. And these women were getting up in front of their churches and and also like
Looking
women in
rather
leadership
frumpy.
looking frumpy. Yeah. And Paul's like, come on, ladies, get it together. Do your
Yeah.
hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're allowed to look good.
If you're not gonna wear something on your head, then do your hair.
But yeah, Court, I mean, we're talking about the pagan, you were talking about the hair. And like that's one thing that I find interesting too here is like he talks about shave like short hair and shaven hair and like and we would I think we would all sort of be on the same page with this. You could tell me if you're wrong, but like I anytime I see a female with like shaved head, really short hair, it just gives me a pause. Okay. Wherever you're at in your journey, you be there.
Hmm.
But it does like I just pause. And then like I also think of it with men with long hair. Don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Like I think there's a thing. I'm not saying you have to be bald like me. Okay. For you audio listeners, I bald. Um, but I do think that there is a proper way, and some of that is set culturally.
Hmm.
You can have the same length hair on a male and a female, and one is short and one is long.
That's true.
Yeah, I
That's a
mean
cultural
I
thing.
Yep.
Talk at me, Britt. I see your.
We see that question in faith. We
well,
know that one.
I just I I struggle with the idea of nitpicking hair length
Yes,
because
absolutely.
I know a lot of people that can't grow hair longer than, just a short hair. I have a lot of friends
Yeah.
that would like that wear wigs and shave their
Hmm.
heads and that sort of thing
Yeah.
to keep.
Hmm.
So shouldn't say I have a lot of friends. I have friends that have done
Hmm.
that in the past,
Hmm.
because it was a medical condition, because it was
Yes.
a something that like their hair wasn't healthy, so they,
Hmm.
took care of it like that.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I question, and just like you look at all the races of people in the world, and white people can grow hair longer than
Oh,
black people
100%.
a lot of the time. Not every
But
time, it's not
that's why
standard,
I
but
want to put that cultural, like that thing in there is
hmm
like long for you might be slightly different than long for another person.
right.
Hmm.
Like
I
I
definitely
don't
think
think.
I think it's something that you definitely have to like. It's a relationship with you and Jesus
Hmm.
issue.
Yeah.
Like, Lord, actually, I want you in all of my life, and therefore I'm gonna add you into my hair length.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Britt, I have a question. So like if you would feel like some, obviously like where the ideal is lacking, grace abounds.
Yep.
Thank you, Matt Chandler. But like obviously there's times when like the ideal is not there. It's not ideal that somebody has cancer, loses their hair. It's not ideal that somebody gets lice and shaves their head. It's not ideal that dot 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 dot.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's so much grace in that.
Yeah.
Like my question for you would be if you have the ability to grow hair, like should you not grow hair? And I don't want to mean that in like some like hippie way.
Hmm.
So
I don't know. Maybe I'm
are we
wrong.
then? I think we're pulling or splitting hairs then.
Oh,
Yeah.
great pun.
Because first off, we're doing exactly what we've just said that the Anabaptists have done
We are.
with the covering. We
We
are
are.
taking that passage and we are
And it's one
splitting
passage.
hairs
Yep.
with hair length. And that's another argument that we had growing up that I think is interesting, that this is the line of conversation that we're on right now, because to me it is the same thing, just about hair length.
Yeah. You're right.
Um,
No, you are right on that.
I also think that you can't say that. I mean, we could get into like shaving legs and stuff then too,
Well, yeah, you got
if we're gonna
yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
So, like for me, it's not something I'm going to pass a judgment on. It's not something I'm going to make a super strong comment on, because I personally don't feel like it's
Mhm.
an issue.
Yeah. I don't know why. I don't know why that like it's good. It's really good to hear you say it talk like that. Because I don't know why that like makes me pause differently than wearing a head covering. So interesting.
Hmm. That is
Maybe I just
And
prefer
interesting.
my women with long hair.
that could just be a personal preference. It could
Maybe I
also
got a
just
type.
be you might. And also it could just be something that's just kind of hung on from culture, because the truth
It could
is
be. Yeah.
we can never ever fully shake everything. Like that's
No.
just, you know.
Yeah.
I don't agree with
So
that. I'm sorry.
That we can never shake everything.
Yes,
I
I'm
think
sorry. Jesus is more powerful than that.
he is. He is.
true,
But I
but
do think
some of these things are
there's
not points. Like the covering is not an issue of will you get to heaven, will you not get to heaven. That's what
mhm.
I'm saying. I
Right.
don't think Jesus is taking his time dwelling on these things. Just like I believe there's a lot of things like hair length that's
Yeah.
Jesus care. I mean, we go back to the verse all the time that says Jesus cares about the heart, not about the outward
Yes.
appearance.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah.
that was like context too, but
There's
like,
context there.
yeah, for
Comb
sure.
your hair.
Yeah, go ahead and look good
Well,
with what you're
okay,
doing,
but
but
like again, when you're talking about hair and stuff like that, and then saying comb your hair and stuff, like back to like the church at, I think it was Ephesus with Timothy. Like
Yeah.
he told them, don't braid your hair, don't do
Yeah.
this.
You
Because
guys are going way over the top.
Well, yeah, because these women were crazy because they had servants that were able to braid. If you had a servant that was able to braid hair, you were up there. And
Yeah.
so they were showing off, like, oh, look
Hmm.
at how great I am and how rich I am because I can afford a servant that braid hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he's like, you got bride, calm down,
Yeah.
stop doing that. Because
Hmm.
there's some women over here that are just as saved as you are that
Yeah.
can't afford the
Yeah.
servant that can braid hair, you know.
Hmm.
Why do you think
And
the Mennonites didn't listen to that braiding hair scripture, but we listened so intently to the head covering one?
there
It's
are,
that's literally why I asked the question. Like that's why like it's so fascinating that we make such a big deal out of this because it literally says don't braid your hair.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then we all braided our hair when we were kids. Like,
My other
There's
my
some strains of Mennonite that like the girls have to braid their hair
Yeah, they have to
until
braid.
they wear their covering.
Yeah.
Hmm.
There's so the other thing that goes along with this, like if you are one of the things we talked about is that Anabaptists try to follow the Bible literally. So my line of thinking logically would be that if we're back on the covering, by the way, if you require your women to wear a physical head covering, then you at no point as a male should wear a hat
Right.
mhm.
Yep.
because it's
Even
a
if it's
cover.
cold as
Doesn't matter.
ice out there.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Freeze your ears off. I mean, I'm serious.
No, I get it, especially if you're being
Yeah,
Wear
them wearing
those silly little
24/7.
earmuffs.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like there it always bothered me to watch a prayer in a group of guys and you okay, time to pray. Whoop, everybody's hat comes off. Why?
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you're allowed to take your hat off as a male to pray, which means
Hmm.
you're uncovering because you shouldn't be covered, then you
Yep.
should also allow your wife, your daughters to dig in their purse, whip out their head covering, put it on to pray,
Hmm.
be done, put it back in their purse.
Yep.
It's the same thing.
Yep.
So those would be like that. That's one of the things that I struggled with a
Yep.
lot. It's the same thing.
Yep.
So those would be like that. That's one of the things that I struggled with a lot.
Mm.
Yeah.
So there's those little inconsistencies all over the place. Like they
Yeah.
just are.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's what happens when you try to force, I don't know, force compliance or force like some of your un like you're not knowing into scripture. Like instead of like
I think
taking
it's
it.
tradition, like when you're
Yeah,
following
that
a
is a great way to
tradition,
put it. Yes.
yeah, over relationship.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, this has been a
Yeah.
great conversation. I feel like there's maybe another episode here. I don't know. Because we obviously feels like we might not be done talking. As usual, we would love to hear your comments on the covering,
Hmm.
whether you have an argument for it or against it, or maybe your journey in leaving,
Hmm.
or maybe your journey in wrestling through it and deciding to stay. We'd love to hear all the stories. And again, in a few weeks, we're going to have a question and answer. So get your questions in. You can put them in the comments below each of these, whatever platform you're listening on. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for listening.